Right. Rand Water says it remains concerned with persistently high water consumption in Gauteng, particularly the city of Johannesburg and Tshwane. Consumption has, according to Rand Water, exceeded the allocated volumes and continues to place significant strain on the overall water supply network. Rand Water will be reducing water supply to these areas to stabilize the entire bulk water supply system. For more, we are joined by Makenosi Maru, Rand Water spokesperson. Makenosi, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it this evening. I think there's quite a few question marks with regards to what it means to have allocated volumes of water. Would that not be fully dependent on how many residents are in a particular place? What exactly does it mean?
Good evening, Orabile. Good evening to your viewers. What it means is that we are going to be really monitoring how municipalities are supplying water to residents. In this case, we're talking about Johannesburg, we're talking about city of Ekurhuleni, and we're also talking about Tshwane. These are the metros who are consuming a lot of water from rainwater. So we are going to be managing and really assessing how they are consuming water, and also really trying to assess how we're going to implement water-saving measures to help reduce the demand and to protect the system in terms of stability.
Yeah, okay, but how much is allocated to areas like the city of Johannesburg, Tshwane, and also how do you determine that figure?
Arabile, what we are going to be assessing, remember each metro has a limitation. As rainwater, we are being given an allocation in terms of what we can abstract from the Val Dam. So each municipality, each metro has a specific amount of liters that they can abstract from rainwater. We are also given a limitation from the Department of Water and Sanitation. So we are going to be really assessing and really trying to keep in line with what we have been allocated with regards to what our sister department has given us as rainwater.
All right, so you don't have that exact figure, though, I may ask, right? You don't have the exact figure.
For the three metros,
yeah,
for the three metros, remember, it's different figures for the three metros. So I'll have to go into details what each metro has been allocated.
So when does it restart? When does that reallocation restart? And how is it fully determined? Because one feels like it's just a randomized figure which may be offered because of how much is given from the water sources, from the Vaal River, etc., and that's given. It's not necessarily dependent on the needs, on the time of the year, because summer, of course, is one of those times when there may be water constraints because of how much water is used, etc. How exactly is this determined? Do you know that?
Look, what each metro needs is determined by how big the metro is. So the allocation, it depends on, one, the size of the metro, the size of consumption, how much they are consuming each metro. So each year, the consumption is being allocated, it's being exercised to see how much each metro is consuming in terms of water. So you're asking, do we even assess what time of the year it is, if it's high consumption because it's summertime? But we need to look into consideration what we are being allocated by the Department of Water and Sanitation. Remember, this is a department where we buy water. So when we get water from the Department of Water and Sanitation, it does not matter what time of the year it is. We need to be efficient. We need to be putting in water-saving measures to help reduce demand and to protect the system. So throughout the year, we need to be protecting the system. We need to be looking at, in terms of our reservoirs, how much we are consuming.
Yeah, look, I only ask all of this because it's hard to say to people, be wary of how much water you then use and spend, when you actually don't know what the exact allocation should be. Even right now, the call is for a water reduction. How much should people be reducing their water reduction by, etc.? I think it becomes so difficult. It feels as though the communication isn't clear. It doesn't offer the full scale. Is that able to change at the very least, to improve transparency, to give off a little bit more for consumers to understand better?
Arabile, remember rainwater is a bulk water supply. So we supply water to municipalities. We have a relationship with municipalities, whether it's the local municipality or it's a metro. We have a relationship with the metros. We have a relationship with the local municipalities where we are supplying water to. So we have those meetings. One, we're meeting with the metros every morning at 8 o'clock. We're meeting with the metros twice a week. So they do know their allocations. We do discuss in details. We are supplying water to over 18 municipalities. So if I have to go back and give figures for each and every municipalities, it will take time. But we discuss this with every municipality that we have a relationship with. So they are aware. If they go above what they have been allocated, this is being communicated to them weekly. So they have to go back to the residents and communicate what has been allocated. If they're above what has been allocated, then they need to put in restrictions. And level 1 restrictions, we've always advocated for level 1 restrictions as Water, that municipalities need to introduce level 1 restrictions throughout the year. If you have a swimming pool, cover your swimming pool to avoid evaporation, use a shower for 4 minutes. All those municipalities are supposed to be communicating. If level 1 fails, then we move to level 2. If level 2 fails, that's when Rainwater comes in, and then we put in our restrictions as a bulk water supplier.
Is there any way for you to be able to move already to level 3, seeing that maybe level 1 and 2 perhaps aren't being adhered to or put in place at all as Water?
Before we even move above level 1, we need to communicate, which is precisely what we're doing. We can be surprising consumers or our municipal customers. We need to communicate, put measures in place. Then if we feel level 1 is failing, then we move to level 2 before we even go to level 3. So it's important to communicate, raise awareness, then move a step further.
That takes me back to exactly what I was saying with regards to communication then being clear. And could we not perhaps improve on that communication? 1. 2, you speak about being at, if level 1 fails, we should be at level 2, etc. Is that not where we should be right now, considering the water losses that are happening in so many parts of the country, whether we go to Bedford View, the story we played just before the break, to areas like the Joburg CBD, etc., which also has some of its own issues? Should we not already be at level 2, if not 3?
Okay, Arabile, there are two phenomena that we need to really differentiate. One, there are leaks in the municipal systems. There are pipes are leaking. Over 40% of the water that we're supplying is going through the non-revenue water, which means it's water that is not even accounted for. But also the second point is the high consumption. So if we have these two phenomena together, we need to really communicate them differently. Yes, in terms of municipalities, they have leaks. In terms of residents or consumers, they have consumption which is high. So we need to really balance these two matters and say, this is a matter for municipalities or for municipal customers. This is a matter for residents. So in this case, we are talking about high water consumption. This will include municipalities to an extent, but it's residents who are consuming water. Hence, we are raising our awareness. Hence, we are saying to them, before we move from level 1, we need to raise awareness. We need to let you know as a consumer that we might be moving to level 2. Please be aware. We are communicating, we are raising awareness as Water. But with regards to non-revenue water, we have been communicating with municipalities. For a fact, I know that Joburg Water, they're in a process of coming up with plans to ensure that there are no leaks in their systems. I know that Tshwane is also making plans. I know that Ekurhuleni is working on firm and permanent plans to ensure that there are no leaks in their systems. So municipalities are working hard, especially in the metros, because they are consuming above 77% of the water that we are purifying. So the metros are working hard to ensure that they stop leaks within the systems. But as residents, as consumers, we need to ensure that we use water sparingly to ensure that we reduce the demand and we protect rainwater systems and reservoirs.
Makinosi, who fixes the leaks? Is that Rand Water or is that the municipalities?
It will be municipalities in this case, because as rainwater, we always communicate when we have a maintenance. If we see leaks, obviously they have to be fixed immediately. When it comes to leaks in terms of pipelines that are going to residents, it will be municipalities. Do we assist? Yes, definitely we do assist, because we are the ones who are purifying water. We are the ones who are supplying water to municipal customers. So we do intervene, we do advise, so we do assist municipalities in that case.
Okay. The level of water that is obviously consumed, as you made note of, it's, what is it, 5,000 million litres a day produced by Rand Water, if I'm correct. 77% consumed by Johannesburg, Tshwane, and Ekurhuleni being the key proponents to that. Do you think this level of demand, and I think you've made note of it already, it's not sustainable? How do we introduce and what stricter water-saving regulations should we be putting in place? Because, of course, we can tell consumers all of this, but if there aren't regulations in place, if there isn't less water pressure, if there isn't less water, period, perhaps people don't listen until it gets very dire. Should we be putting in better regulations?
Arabile, you're correct, Arabile, that we need to have regulations in place. Hence, I did indicate to you that level 1 restrictions, they need to be always in place throughout the year. Municipalities need to communicate to their residents, to their consumers, that level 1 restrictions are always in place. As I indicated, those who have pools, cover your pool. If you have to shower, if you have to to water your lawn, it has to be within certain times between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Those are the restrictions that we need to be communicating to the residents. Save water, use water sparingly throughout the year before we even move to level 2. So level 1 should be an existing restriction that we all adhere to as residents, as consumers.
I know you're a bulk water purchaser and supplier at this stage, which means you're feeding into the municipalities, as you made note of a little bit earlier, Makinosi. But should Gauteng in particular be considering alternative water sources? I don't know if desalination still works, groundwater, recycling of some sort. How much of that are we doing in order to ensure that we don't overstretch the bulk water system?
Look, already the bulk water system is overstretched, hence we are communicating, and we are looking long-term, we are looking into solutions of desalination, coming up with water, obviously underground water. Those are the solutions that we're looking at, but it will be long-term. It will not be an immediate solution that we're looking for. People are looking for water. We are getting formal and informal settlements that are coming up in different areas. So for now, people will be asking, how do I get water as a resident, as a consumer? We need to be very operational. We need to be very realistic and localized issues. And in terms of networks, in terms of pipelines, this is what is happening. Long term, yes, that's what we're looking at.
Okay, so still some water. It's not as if we're entering day 0 or any of those countdowns anytime soon, right? There is still water. We just need to be very restrictive in our usage.
That's very important, yes. We are far from day 0. We are not even using that lingo for now. So we still have enough water in the system. We're still over-obstructing from the Val Dam, but we need to use water sparingly as residents of Gauteng, especially in Gauteng.
Makinosi, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it. I think there was some tough questions to really answer to there to try and help a lot of people understand as well. So appreciate your candor with those. Makinosi Maru, Rand Water spokesperson, joining us as we just talk about, particularly out of Gauteng, a few areas that are short of water. But what does that update look like from here? All right.